Yo, right now, your brain is begging you for one thing, not money, not muscles, purpose. And here's the wild part. Neuroscience says your brain can't tell the difference between feeling like your life has meaning and actually living it. That feeling, it radiates. It's magnetic. It's the silent signal that makes someone look at you and think, I feel safe with him. But let's keep it 100. You've seen those 7 traits videos. They're recycling the same tired script. Be dominant, shut it down, never show weakness. Like it's still 1955. That's not masculinity, that's a costume. And deep down, it's lonely as hell. The truth, backed by real deal psychology in the 2020s, is way more powerful. Real attraction isn't about performance. It's about presence. It's about the calm in your eyes when everything's chaos. The way you listen like her words are oxygen, the quiet fire of knowing why you're here. For the next 10 minutes, I'm breaking down the 7 masculine traits that modern psychology proves women are genuinely drawn to, not because they're supposed to, but because these traits signal something primal. This man is safe. He's grounded. He's real. And the best part, you don't have to fake it. I'll show you how to grow these traits from the inside out, starting with one tiny shift today. This ain't about becoming a player. It's about becoming unshakable. Ready to unlock that version of yourself? Let's go. Trait number 1, emotional stability, not stoicism. Real strength, real attraction. Let's cut through the noise right now. That old school idea that real men don't feel, that they just clench their jaw, swallow their pain, and power through, that's not strength. That's silence. And silence kills connection. Here's what actually pulls people in, what makes someone feel safe, seen, and deeply drawn to you. Emotional stability. Not the absence of emotion, but the mastery of it. And get this, psychology backs it hard. Studies show that emotional stability ranks higher than looks, higher than money, even higher than charm when it comes to what people truly want in a partner, short-term or long-term. Why? Because your nervous system speaks before your words do. When you're grounded, you give others permission to breathe, indeed, to trust, to lean in. This isn't about bottling it up like some stone-cold statue. Stoicism got twisted over the years. Real Stoic philosophy? It's about awareness, not suppression. It's about feeling your anger, your fear, your frustration, and choosing your response like a man who owns his mind, not one who's owned by his mood. And here's the game changer, something you can use right now in the next 10 seconds of your life, the 10-second reset. When your heart's racing, when your fingers are itching to fire off that text, pause, inhale for 4 seconds, hold it, exhale slow for 6. That's it, one breath. But that one breath, it flips a switch in your brain. It tells your amygdala, the panic button, we're safe, we've got this. And in that sliver of space, you become someone others can count on. Not because you're perfect, but because you don't crumble when things get messy. And that's magnetic, because deep down, everyone's looking for the same thing. Someone who won't add chaos to their life, but calm to it. Now, imagine carrying that energy into your next conversation, your next relationship, your next moment of pressure. That's not just attractive, that's unforgettable. And it all starts with one breath. Trait number 2, quiet confidence, not arrogance. Let's cut through the noise. Confidence isn't loud, it doesn't flex, it doesn't need your applause. Real confidence, it's the quiet hum of a man who knows, not because he's better than you, but because he's done the work. See, arrogance screams to fill a void. But quiet confidence, it's already full. And here's the wild part. Your brain can actually feel the difference. Studies show we're wired to trust calm certainty over flashy bravado, because deep down, we know arrogance is fragile, but quiet confidence, that's built on something real. And women don't just notice it, they're drawn to it like gravity. Not because it's cool, but because it feels safe, secure, like you won't crumble when life gets hard. But here's where most guys trip up. They chase confidence by comparing themselves. Am I taller, richer, smoother? When the truth is, comparison kills confidence every single time. Real confidence isn't about measuring up, it's about showing up for your craft, your word, your growth. Master one thing, just one. Code, carpentry, cooking, communication, then let your results do the talking. No promo, no performance, just proof. Because when you stop trying to look confident, you finally become someone worth believing in. And that's the kind of energy that doesn't just attract people, it holds them. What happens when that quiet confidence meets a deeper purpose? Because purpose, That's the secret amplifier no one's talking about. But here's the thing, calm alone isn't enough. You've got to speak that calm into the world with confidence that doesn't shout but resonates. Let's talk about that next. Trait number 3, a sense of purpose. Let me hit you with something real. Women aren't just looking for a guy with a six-pack or a fat wallet. They're looking for a man who matters to himself, to others, to something bigger than just getting through the day. Here's the raw truth from psychology. People with a strong sense of purpose are literally rated as more romantically attractive. Not because they're perfect, but because purpose radiates something primal. Direction, stability, depth. Think about it. When you meet someone who knows why they wake up in the morning, who's building, creating, serving, or fighting for something, it hits different. It's not about your job title. It's not about flexing on Instagram. It's about your why. And that why, it's your superpower. Because in a world full of noise, distraction, and guys just drifting, a man with purpose is a lighthouse. You don't need to cure cancer or start a billion-dollar company. Your purpose could be mentoring a kid in your neighborhood. It could be mastering your craft. It could be being the kind of father your own dad never was. Here's your move today. Before you check your phone tomorrow morning, ask yourself this. What's one small thing I can do today that lines up with who I say I am? Do that. Then do it again the next day. Because purpose isn't some grand, distant destination. It's built in the tiny, daily choices that whisper, I'm here, I'm awake, I'm building something that lasts. And that's what makes someone unforgettable. Now, when you've got that fire inside, the next thing that pulls people in, it's not what you say, it's how you listen. Trait number 4, active listening, the secret weapon of real connection. All right, let's cut through the noise. You've been sold a lie your whole life, that to be attractive, you gotta be the loudest guy in the room, the funniest, the smoothest, the one with the wildest stories. But here's the raw, unfiltered truth backed by science. The most magnetic thing you can do is shut up and listen. Not just hear, listen. Like your future depends on it. Because honestly, it kind of does. See, when you give someone your full, undivided attention, when you're not just waiting for your turn to talk, but you're in their world, you're doing something primal. You're signaling, you matter, I see you. And that hits deeper than any compliment. A study in the International Journal of Listening found that people who experience active listening don't just feel heard, they feel understood, valued, and genuinely attracted to the listener. It literally lights up the brain's reward system. This isn't about nodding like a bobblehead. Nah. Real active listening is empathy in action. It's catching the emotion behind the words. It's looking her in the eyes and saying, wow, that sounds really tough. What was that like for you? Or, so what you're saying is, you've been carrying this alone. Boom. In that moment, you're not just a guy on a date. You're a safe harbor. And in a world where everyone's scrolling, distracted, half present, being the person who truly sees her, that's rare. That's powerful. That's unforgettable. And here's the kicker. This skill doesn't just build attraction, it builds trust. And trust, that's the foundation of everything that lasts. So next time you're talking to someone you care about, whether it's a first date or your partner of 10 years, try this. Put your phone away. Lean in. Let the silence sit for a beat and ask one question that shows you were really listening. Because the moment she feels truly seen, that's the moment you become impossible to ignore. And that deep sense of safety you just created, it flows right into our next trait, one that's been misunderstood for generations. Trait number 5, intelligent humor, the secret weapon that lights up a room and a heart. Let's cut through the noise. Humor isn't just being funny. It's one of the most powerful, primal signals your brain sends, without saying a word, that you're smart, creative, and emotionally tuned in. And here's the kicker, backed by decades of evolutionary psychology. Women don't just like men who make them laugh. They're biologically wired to be drawn to them. Not the guys who just laugh at jokes, but the ones who create them. Why? Because humor is a stealthy spotlight on your mind. When you crack a clever, kind observation about the world, especially about a shared moment, you're not just being witty. You're broadcasting. I've got intelligence. I've got creativity. I can handle stress with grace. And I see you. Studies confirm it. Humor production is a legit fitness indicator, a subconscious cue that you've got good genes, emotional resilience, and the mental agility to navigate life's chaos. It's not about punchlines. It's about presence. But And this is critical. The wrong kind of humor pushes people away. Sarcasm that stings, jokes at someone else's expense. That's not confidence, it's insecurity in a cheap suit. The magic? Observational humor rooted in kindness. Notice the little things. Turn everyday moments into shared joy. Like seeing your friend stressed and saying, "Dude, your coffee's got more anxiety than you do. Want to split a deep breath instead?" That's the stuff that builds real connection. That's the stuff that lingers in someone's mind long after the conversation ends. And here's the beautiful link to what's next. Because when you pair that intelligent humor with rock solid reliability, showing up exactly as you say you will, you don't just make someone laugh, you make them feel safe. And that's where real trust begins. Trait number 6, reliability and consistency. Let's get real for a sec. In a world where ghosting is normal, plans vanish like smoke, and "I'll call you" means "I'll forget you by tomorrow," being the guy who actually shows up, that's not just attractive, it's rare. It's powerful. It's the kind of thing that makes someone's nervous system finally go, "Oh, I'm safe with you." This isn't fluff. Psychology backs it hard. Studies show that reliability isn't just a nice to have. It's one of the top predictors of long-term relationship success. Why? Because consistency equals safety. And safety, that's the foundation of real intimacy. When you say you'll call and you call, when you say you'll be there and you're there, you're not just keeping a promise, you're wiring trust into their brain every single time. And here's the kicker. It's not about grand gestures. It's the tiny, boring, unsexy moments that build your legacy. Text back, be on time. Follow through on the small stuff. Because in someone's mind, that's not small. That's proof you give a damn. And once that trust locks in, that's when real connection begins. That's when they stop wondering if you'll disappear and start imagining a future with you. So ask yourself, are you the exception or just another maybe? Because trust gets you in the door, but what keeps them leaning in, heart wide open? That's where our final trait comes in, the one that turns reliability into love. Trait number 7, kindness and empathy. Let's get real for a sec. You ever meet someone who just sees you? Not your resume, not your flex, but the part of you that's tired or scared or trying your best? That's not just nice, that's magnetic. Science backs this hard. Dr. John Gottman, the OG of love research, found that kindness and empathy aren't just sweet. They're the number one predictor of whether a relationship will last, like over 90% accuracy kind of predictor. But here's what nobody tells you. Kindness ain't about grand gestures. It's not flowers or fancy dates. It's in the micro moments, those split-second choices that whisper, "You matter to me." Holding the door just a beat longer so someone doesn't fumble. Remembering how your girl takes her coffee after she mentioned it once 3 weeks ago. Texting you good when you sense the vibes off, even if she hasn't said a word. These tiny acts, they're emotional glue. Psychologists call them micro moments of connection, and they literally rewire trust in the brain. Every single one stacks up like bricks in a fortress. And get this, people rated as kind are even seen as more physically attractive. Yeah, you heard that right. Kindness literally makes you hotter. So don't sleep on this. In a world that's loud, rushed, and all about the self, choosing kindness isn't soft, it's revolutionary. It's the quiet superpower that says, "I've got your back" without needing a spotlight. Because deep down, that's what we're all starving for. To be known, to be held, to feel safe. And that's the kind of man people don't just like, they stay for. Which brings us full circle, because all 7 of these traits, they're not about chasing attraction, they're about building a life and a love that actually lasts. Look, this ain't about putting on a mask or playing some outdated role, nah. This is about stepping into the man you were always meant to be, the one who doesn't need to prove anything, because he knows who he is. And here's the beautiful part. You don't need to be perfect. You just need to start. Today. Right now. One deep breath, one honest conversation, one act of quiet courage. That's how real attraction is born, not from performance, but from presence. Science used to paint masculinity as this rigid, loud alpha caricature. But modern psychology, it's flipping the script. Turns out the traits that truly draw people in, especially in lasting, meaningful relationships, are the ones rooted in empathy, stability, and authenticity. Not ego, not noise, soul. And if you've made it this far, that tells me something. It tells me you care. You're not just scrolling, you're searching. And that right there, that's your first sign of real strength. So I'm going to ask you something real. Which one of these 7 traits hit you right in the chest? Was it the quiet confidence, the active listening, that deep, unshakable sense of purpose? Don't just keep it to yourself. Drop it in the comments. Tell me your story. Maybe you saw it in your dad. Maybe you're building it in yourself. Or maybe you just realized, damn, I've been doing this all wrong. That's okay. Growth starts with honesty. And if you're ready to go deeper, to unlock more science-backed, soul-level strategies that actually stick, smash that subscribe button. We're not just building a channel here. We're building a brotherhood of men who choose depth over distraction, connection over control, and realness over reputation. Because at the end of the day, the most magnetic thing you'll ever be is unapologetically, fiercely, tenderly you. Now go out there and live like it.